Today I'm talking about public transportation and who's liable if you're injured on public transportation. And I want to start with the premise that let's assume that they're at fault, that the public transportation service is negligent in some capacity, because without that you have no case, and so there is no liability. So let's start with that premise and move from there. Now, who is at fault is could be a tricky one depending on where it happens. For example, in the city of St. Louis, there's Metro, and that is a company. And so, if in a situation like that, you'd be suing that company, going after that company. And most of the time, you don't actually have to sue. Many times, you're able to resolve it out of court. Now, what's tricky about Metro in particular is you better have pretty solid proof that they did something wrong, because they've got videos of everything. And so if they've done something wrong, it's on camera most of the time. If you think you are going to fraudulently try to pursue a case against Metro, you're sadly mistaken, because they've got recordings of inside the bus and outside the bus, along the sides of the bus. They've got cameras everywhere. So let's just start with that as well. But we're operating under the assumption that they've done something negligent, and in that case, you'd go after Metro. You'd go after the private company. In other places, though, for example, let's use the city of Columbia. That's operated by the city, and so you're going to be suing the city. You're not going to be suing a public company or private company. You're going to be suing a governmental entity. You'll be going after, filing a claim against the governmental entity. And there are, in many instances, whenever the government's involved, there are immunities in place. But not when it comes to something like this. Not when it comes to public transportation, where there are exceptions to the immunities that are in place. So if you're worried about immunities, don't worry about them when it comes to public transportation, because there are exceptions. So it really depends. The answer to the question is who's liable. It really depends on where it happens. So there's no blanket statement that applies to one over the other. It really depends on the situation and where it happened. So you'll want to look into that as to wherever it happened. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions about that, if you were injured on a bus or any other sort of public transportation, give us a call if you have any questions. 888-550-4026. That is on the screen if you're watching the video. If you're listening on the podcast, you'll want to punch that in. And also check us out on Facebook. We have a lot of information we share on a daily basis. Like and subscribe to this podcast or this video. It really does help spread the word. All right. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you.